Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats?
Yes, it did.
I hope you got me something to eat.
Maybe.
Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party.
Right now.
I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party.
Right now.
Oh, chocolate and dabbing, maybe some microphone dabbing at the after party.
With DJ Airrick, Page.
I played the right one this time. Every time I hit that, I don't know which one it's going to be. If it's going to be like the old one or the updated
Yeah, the one with the flash in it as well, which is always a concern. Demonetization.
Oh yeah, of course. So everyone, welcome to the stream. Wasn't live last week. A lot of stuff going on. This month's been really busy with the chalking and dabbing and all that stuff. So it's been kind of tough.
Wow, you didn't finish it? Wow, talk about a tease. You could have put in. It could have been a great reference. No microphone grabbing in the.
Oh yeah. None of that.
Wow, what a missed opportunity there.
Right. If you guys haven't noticed, there are new membership badges. All of them been changed and updated for both this channel and the Debunks channel. Although this week we're not streaming on that one, it's just on this one. People were asking me if I was going to do that every week. That was not really on purpose. I hit both of them because I'd done that on a previous stream when I did it and I set it up and I was like, I'm already doing it. But some people did like it. Maybe I will consider like once in a while multi-streaming. I don't know. I'll have to find out and figure out if I want to do that. The only thing it does is it kind of splits up the viewership numbers between this stream on playback would get a certain amount of views that it doesn't get if I put it on both channels, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that really matters, to be honest. What do you think? Do you think that matters? I don't know if that matters or not.
It depends on if we get into edgy topics and your woke crowd gets offended.
No. I don't know. Anyway, we have a few people here, some shout outs. We have Amethyst here. Good to see you. Defunct Cody is in the building. Oh, look, Canada Graph has arrived all the way from Canada.
One singular, no plural.
Yeah, Canada Graph has arrived. Lone Wolf here. Hero's Journey is in the house. Silhouetted Animator, good to see you. What did you think of the Superman and Lois season 4 footage of Clark fighting Doomsday across the solar system? I haven't seen that yet. Somebody else asked me about
across
that.
the solar system? I thought he just got flung into the moon again. I only saw it once. So
what's up, Darth Bunyan? How you doing? Maestro's in the house. Good to see you. Is that available, like, to watch? Somebody mentioned
it's one of those like this year on the CW, and they show
wait, is okay? Hold on. I want to watch that. Is that out like to like? Is that?
I think it's on the CW channel
on YouTube. Let me see.
I saw it on obviously because I think they did the thing again where like no one but Americans can see the CW channel.
Well, then
I saw it on Twitter. It's like
the fall 2024 Sizzle.
That's
reel.
it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna watch that because somebody was telling me that it's just a lot of really bad, like most of the shows people don't care about except for the ones that have been around for a while. So there's like Trivial Pursuit, some other stuff in there, which I thought was pretty funny. Anyway, we'll watch that here in a second. Anyway, we have a few different topics today. It's not going to be a super long stream. The longer streams will return next week. This week it's a really tight schedule for me. So we're just going to kind of get through everything or whatever. Canada Graph says, hopefully there's lots of golf highlights in it. I don't know about that one. Anyway, so this week's reviews, I was really happy. So you guys came through on the Superman or My Adventure with Superman reviews. I had mentioned that I was thinking about not covering it. Like, this is how you have to do it. You have to like threaten people, I guess. So I was like, I'm not going to cover it anymore. And it broke 1,000 views this week. So I was like, okay, maybe. I also noticed that the boys review is coming up on 1K views too as well from yesterday. So that's pretty good. I'm enjoying that. Acolyte, unless you're talking negatively about it, nobody's clicking on it, obviously. I'm doing that 3 thumbnail test thing. Have you been doing that on your channel at all? I started that. So
You have to go to a different area to see it. Like not just on the YouTube upload page. You have to go into. Maybe I don't have it. Maybe I know it.
It just for me, it's in the thumbnail section. Like when you go into, you look at your thumbnails, it's just in that section. And you can upload 3 thumbnails. So what it does is it tests the thumbnails with the people that are like. If you personally click on something that has a certain type of thumbnail, they're going to show that thumbnail to that person to incite them to click on it and see if they do. And then that will tell you which thumbnail is the best of the 3 for you to leave on your video, which for weekly content, it doesn't do very much because I think it takes like 9 days for them to verify all of it. So literally the only thing I use it for is the fact that I can make 3 different thumbnails that will probably go out to the people that prefer that version. So, because it's not going to matter if we're doing weekly reviews, that's not going to matter for you long term.
Well, so it takes 9 days for them to give you the one that people.
I think it's like 9 days before it tells you which one is the most like popular of the 3 thumbnails. So
yeah, that's speed it up YouTube.
Also, as far as I know, wait, there's no background music. What are we doing here? This is the after party.
I can beatbox if you want.
Yeah, no, please don't. Apparently it doesn't work on click through. Like when people click. No, it's on watch time.
Oh, that's stupid then.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. So it's not based on the click through rate. It's based on the one that people clicked on that was watched that made them watch the video the longest. That's the criteria for it.
I guess it's not bad, but at the same time, it's not the optimal one. You'd want the click through rate.
Right.
Anyway.
So for me, I'm not using it for any information on my weekly reviews.
It depends how long it takes you to make thumbnails and stuff. Like obviously, yeah, Airrick AI generates these thumbnails, so it's easy for him.
Right. Well, for the boys, right? So a good example is I had 3 possible topics for that video, and I couldn't decide which one I wanted to do, so I just did all 3, and I uploaded all 3, and I just put it out. So now I noticed today when I was scrolling through on my other account, I saw a different thumbnail from the one that was set as the default thumbnail, meaning that they were trying to target me with one of the different thumbnails. So I know it's working, and I'll continue to toy around with it. It doesn't seem to be helping the Star Wars video, though, which I did 3 completely different thumbnails for that.
It probably just depends if, like, time-wise it's worth it. Like, making a thumbnail, like, it depends, like, how much you're editing the pictures and stuff, or pretty much you're just dragging a couple things in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably depends if it's worth your time. I'd say in most cases it probably isn't.
Yeah.
But it probably just depends on that.
I think for like my boys video, when I have like a conundrum, you know what I mean? Like I have multiple ideas for thumbnails. I think it's useful for me.
That's when it's useful. Or you got 3 different, like you're talking about like multiple topics or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can make it one where different ones where different topics are the main thing, like they're take up the majority of the thumbnail or whatever it is. Then that's a decent idea. But if you're just saying like, oh, this or whatever, like, you know, just something.
Like a good example is my review for Superman, or my adventure with Superman. I just like the one thumbnail that I did.
Because you have one idea there, like, because that's like the best. You think that's the best option for the thumbnails, like,
With Star Wars Acolyte, I was testing it with different colors, like the reds and the blues, to see which ones I think pop the most. Whereas with the boys, I made 3 completely unique thumbnails, and I think it works for me. So, but look, it's going to be it only accurately does it on videos that get 5,000 or more views. so it's not click through rate, it's watch time. It's based on 5,000 or more views on your video within 9 days. So it really isn't like, unless you're a big channel.
It's pretty. Once again, it's one of the YouTube's things where it's pretty much designed to help the channels that are appearing on the homepage constantly,
and also the channels that don't need help with thumbnail click-through rates. Like those channels, the ones that have like, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers or whatever, they're getting, you know, 50, 60, 70,000 views a video. They don't need help with their thumbnail click-through rates. They just thumbnail click-through rates. That's a tough word to say. They don't need help with that. They're already getting a bunch of views. I mean, I can't imagine that anything that Mr. Beast cares about making multiple thumbnails for his videos. I don't think it matters. anyway, been toying with that. So if you've seen different thumbnails for my videos, that also another thing, Paigey, is they should allow us to do multiple titles. Like the multiple thumbnails is fine, but I think each thumbnail should allow you to make a different title, because otherwise your thumbnail and your title will not always be the same. So like for my boys video, I had to put all 3 ideas in the titles with all 3 thumbnails, because otherwise it didn't make any sense. So, you know,
which makes sense, I guess. Yeah, maybe they might.
Is this confirmed? Paigey's my dad.
So. I think Lance is older than me, isn't he? Time traveler confirmed.
How am I your little brother?
I think that might be like slang for you're a bitch.
So yeah, exactly. You know, the reality is that like a lot of the services you use to help you with YouTube videos tell you that titles are more important than thumbnails typically. But
then some will say the other end.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I think if you're going to let us do multiple thumbnails, we should be able to do multiple titles. Naruto here says, did you notice that Gen V news segment The Boys this week? Yeah. So we know that's going to be coming around. The sickness for the superheroes, for the soups. Should be pretty interesting. I want to address this comment here, and then we're going to start talking about some of the edgy topics this week.
Lad.
Yeah. So Justin says, what happened to the Weekly Geekly returning? Let me tell you the situation with that. So several of the people that would have been guests for the Weekly Geekly, for the return of the Weekly Geekly. Huh? What?
Doug did.
Yeah. Have their own shows during the week. And so I am trying to find, and eventually I'm going to give up on this, but I'm trying to be the nice person here to not have competing shows with anybody else, whether, because it'll affect viewership or whatever. Yeah. Time slots are rough. Like, what day of the week can I do the Weekly Geekly that doesn't step on the toes of somebody else, or vice versa? Somebody else doesn't step on the toes of the Weekly Geekly. I don't know how to make that work, because everybody wants the show to be earlier in the day, like the time we're doing it right now, but like Monday through Friday. And the problem is, I've looked at the calendar for the week. Almost everybody has a stream at some point Monday through Friday in that time slot. Almost every single person. So for me, it's going to be a situation where I'm going to have to hurt somebody's feelings, I think, eventually. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to
do it. Like, I mean,
well, it's either that or stream later. That's really the only option. And I know people don't like the late night streams, so I don't know. I don't know what the proper answer is. So if you guys have any solutions for that, I would love to hear it. Well, see, that's the thing is on Sunday, there are people that go to church that have told me they aren't available.
I know it's probably not the best to do it the day after the after party anyway.
Yeah,
you'd want a bit of a break,
right?
At least a day off.
I was thinking Monday or Tuesday would be the optimal day to give people like a spot in between that. But Tuesdays is the Party Nation with Lance and his whole entire panel. So I don't necessarily want to do that. I wanted to do it after Lance, but then that would be later at night.
When did all these fucking streams start? I know, like, everyone's starting to stream.
I was going to do it after Lance's stream, but I'm not even sure when Lance's stream ends typically on Tuesdays, and I have to watch the Acolyte on Tuesdays because my reviews go up on Wednesdays. So trying to do my stream and watch that show and get my review up early access for paid channel members, that's impossible. I can't do that. There's no way to do that.
Nothing's impossible, Eric.
So, so I have to prioritize getting my content made, which is the Acolyte review. So can't do that. Don't want to stream opposite of Lance's stream because that would be kind of a asshole thing to do. Can't really do it earlier because then I start to cut into time where people aren't awake yet. So I don't know. I have no idea. Mondays don't seem to be a bad spot, but Mondays is when people are like, I talked to several people who they do their recordings for their pre-recorded podcast on Mondays, which means that I can't get guests on that day either. So it's really just like one of those spots where I don't think there's a perfect time for everybody. So yeah, we'll see. It's definitely coming back. I just got to figure out when I want to do it. I mean, I could make it like an early day show, like in the middle of the afternoon, but I'm not really sure when that'll work. So I work on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
I work Wednesday nights.
Not the show, but he works on the day.
Yeah. I have a gig on Wednesday, so I can't do it Wednesdays either. Unless I do it like at 12 o'clock at night my time. So So that look, people that I appreciate people trying to give me solutions. I have been banging my head against the wall on this for a while. This is my schedule, my normal work schedule. I work Tuesdays, and not
Tuesday.
YouTube. I work on Tuesday, I work on Wednesday, I work on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I work 5 days a week in the evenings, literally during the time when most people are doing their shows. The only way I could do a show on those nights is if I do them earlier than a certain time or later than a certain time. And so the issue is if I do it later, people complain that it's too late and they can't make it to the stream. And to be quite honest, I don't necessarily like streaming super late because there's less viewership, so it makes it less interactive. But if I do it earlier, then I step on the toes of other people who are already doing streams. So it's going to be a tough decision. I'll figure something out this week. Darth Bunyan says the Acolyte is everything. I was hoping for 4 and more. 10 for hoping for. Oh, the episode, the score. Got it. 10. Gotcha. Yeah, great stuff.
Just your response, just like, yeah, okay.
Well, because I was confused, I didn't understand what it was saying. 4. I was hoping 4 and more.
I thought you just looked at the score of 10 and went, okay, and then moved on.
No.
I have to say something about the Acolyte. I was sitting there after.
Wait, hold on. Have you watched it yet?
I watched the most. What was it? Episode 4.
Okay.
Because I'm one of those things. If I start a season, it's pretty rare. I'm not going to finish it. Like I'm pretty big on at least finishing a season. Doesn't necessarily start the next season.
Unless it's Naomi, and then you don't.
No, I finished Naomi. I didn't finish Gotham.
Watch it every week.
I watched the part, and that was the last episode I watched.
Fair enough.
But you know what? With the Acolyte, I think it's very similar. And you might hate this comparison. You might love it. You might be like, "Wow, that's bang on."
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to Gotham Knights in the way in which the premise is actually pretty interesting. The actual concept of the show and the premise and even the hook of the show is pretty interesting.
Right.
But the writing is as arse as it gets. Right. The writing is awful. It's like I hit my head on the wall and then I put my pen to paper. Like sort of writing. It's really bad.
Like what? Like in what way? Can you give me an example of what part you
like? The actual just structuring and pacing of episodes and everything like that. It's almost like.
Okay, well, I hated the pacing of the last episode. I hated the way it ended on a cliffhanger. I know people are like, "That's how TV works." I'm
fine with the cliffhanger thing. I'm fine with that. I don't know why people. I think it was more maybe I'm fine with the cliffhanger in a way in which if it next episode it picks up right where we left off. It's not this thing where we just stop. And
we're going to do a flashback. It'll flash.
I'd hate that. I'd hate that if we go, oh, this is 2 hours after they all got knocked back or something like that. Right, I would hate that. But I'm fine with that ending. But I think the Acolyte is just, I think the premise of it, where it's set and before and everything like that is interesting.
I'll be honest. Other than the wait, what was the episode? Episode 3.
The one where they started the which episode was
really okay. Other than that episode, because I didn't care for that one and I've given my reasons why, but other than that episode, I actually am enjoying this more than some of the other Star Wars shows. Like I think Book of Boba Fett was awful. I did not like that show at all. Except for
to be honest, I don't really remember too much of the outside of like the Sarlacc pit episode.
I mean, I thought that show was just awful, and like I think this is a better show than that personally. And I mean, if we take out the Mandalorian parts of it, which by the way, I know people are like, you can't just take pieces out, but very clearly the Mandalorian episodes in Book of Boba Fett were different from the rest of the show. Very clearly. I don't know why they even decided to do that, but I just didn't like that. I thought there was shining moments in it, but as an overall series, I don't think it was very good. But I'm enjoying Acolyte because of what you said. I like the setting of it. I like the characters. And I'm forgiving on some of the writing only because of the fact that we watched a lot of really bad shit on the CW for years. And I don't feel like this is any worse than some of the shows that we watched on the CW, to be completely honest.
That's what I mean. Like when I say it sort of reminds me of something like a Gotham Knights, just because it has, like, I thought the premise and the general idea for Gotham Knights wasn't bad. I know people hated it from the get-go. I'm like, well, you could do something interesting with it.
Yeah.
And the Acolyte's the same. It's just that the execution isn't where it needs to be. But I would forgive that if the show ends off in a really cool way. You'd be like, okay, well, I can deal with one
You know,
really bad
I have to give
episode
I
and
have
then
to give
some
you
good ones.
credit. The one thing that you said to me a long time ago that kind of changed my perspective on TV, like legitimately changed my perspective on TV, was that there are some questions that you should expect to be answered in the episodes, and some of them you could just wait until the season is over and then decide whether it was worth it or not, whether it was good or not. And that really changed the way I started reviewing stuff on my channel, because it's more dynamic. It allows you to give some breathing room to the show where you can go, well, do I need the answer to that right now, or is that something that I can wait to see how it's going to be answered at the end of the season? And I think the Acolyte is really testing people's patience with that, because it is doing something similar to the Arrowverse, similar to the CW, where some of the answers we're getting relatively quickly and some of them we're going to have to wait till the end of the season. And
well, yeah, with anything that's a TV series, especially when it's based obviously fictional, but also with like they're going to have some twists and turns and things like that, you have to suspend disbelief for at least a portion of it, unless it's contained within the episode. Like it doesn't make sense within the episode and it ends. If the story ends at episode and it doesn't make sense or it doesn't work, then you get right to go, well, that was stupid. Why would we waste time on that?
If it's an answer that you need immediately, that's one of those things where it's like, why did they, like, we talked about it. I'm trying to think of a good example, but there was times in when watching The Flash or Arrow where we would want an answer to something that kind of needed, for me personally, needed to be answered, and they would just skip over it, move on to the next thing, and then we'd never get an answer for that thing, and that would annoy me. Yeah. Like, I'm not talking about in that episode. I mean, we get to the end of the season and they still haven't answered that thing. And so, before, part before. So I think what annoys me about the people that are reviewing Star Wars TV shows is they were mostly fans of the movies, right? So
it's a different medium. Like that's why, like even when like some of like the critic sides or even like Deadline stuff, they have TV people and then they have film people.
Yeah.
Like you usually don't go to someone that normally reviews movies to then review a TV show, because a lot of the times their mind's in the area of reviewing a movie, you know, and they don't know how to balance
unless they're going to wait till the season is over and then just review the whole season.
Well, unless it's a binge watch thing, like when Stranger Things will come out and stuff, and usually people aren't reviewing one episode of Stranger Things, or reviewing the entire season or whatever it might be.
So I want to comment on this from Silhouetted Animator about scorings and Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. I've really gotten to the point where I just ignore that stuff. And let me tell you why I ignore it. First and foremost, they're not reliable. It's been shown already that there can be manipulation on scores on all of these sites. All of them are easily manipulated unless they have some sort of perfect regulation. And when you have fans reviewing stuff that's never going to be done perfectly. So I've just started ignoring them, because those scores mean nothing to you as an individual person. And what I mean by that is you're not going to look at something that you enjoy and see that it's been scored a 10 and go, oh, I guess I should hate it because it's scored a 10. Or the other way around. If you don't like something. Yeah.
I think a 10 out of 10.
Well, no, like a 10% out of 100%.
Sorry.
Or you're going to look at something that's like scored at 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, but you hate it. You're not going to be like, well, I guess I have to love it because it scored 92%. So those scores mean zero to the average viewer. And this isn't about you, silhouetted animator. This isn't me like having a dig at you. I've gotten to the point now where it feels like it, right? I've gotten to the point where when I see people online post up like a Rotten Tomatoes score or something like that to make a video about it, I just kind of roll my eyes, because it's like the lowest hanging fruit. Like, what is that supposed to mean to me?
It's like reporting on trailer views. It's like reporting on trailer views to me. Like, if you like, I know I've said this before, and maybe this is another thing that Eric was inspired by and was like, packaged with armors. I just watch the trailer. If it looks interesting, I watch it.
Yeah.
If I haven't watched the trailer and someone says it's worth watching, I might then watch the trailer and go, yeah, I'll give this a go. It's pretty rare I go through Rotten Tomatoes and go, what's rated highest the past month? And go, then I'll watch that. Right. Especially when it comes to TV, because spoiler, if you don't know about TV, most of the Rotten Tomatoes scores, if not with a lot of shows, the majority, it's just based off the first episode, maybe the first 2 episodes.
Well, and the other thing is Rotten Tomatoes has allowed people to score things before they even see the first episodes. That's the problem with the Acolyte, was a lot of those negative scores came in 5 hours before the episodes even premiered.
Yeah.
Which means it was impossible for those people to watch it. So,
and even then with the TV show specifically on Rotten Tomatoes, like a lot of the times where TV is going to like quote unquote fall apart or not
Mm.
is going to be like in its middle or end of the season, not at the beginning. So a lot of the times something's going to have a massive Rotten Tomato score. So when something has a really small one, I always find that sus, especially on the audience side.
It's
Because
yeah,
usually-
especially when you get below like 25%, it gets like, do we really believe that's real?
I mean,
You know
I
what
think anything on Rotten Tomatoes, especially audience wise, it probably has below 40%. I think that's a clear sign of botting it, or whatever you call it, bombing,
Yeah.
botting.
It
Anyway,
just
just
seems
because it's just
unrealistic. We're
unnatural.
talking about the general public because
Yeah.
it's not the real world. And that's the thing is a lot of the people that use these scoring systems treat media like a sports event. And that's not the way people view media. That's not the way people do it. Like,
What do you
it's
mean
not
by
like
that?
you're watching, like, what was that? What'd you say?
What do you mean by that? Like,
So like when people go and you're watching your favorite teams play a game and you're watching the scoreboard or whatever, that's the score. You're watching the
okay, I
game.
know what you
You know
mean.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those are the points
Yeah.
they've made, all this or whatever. When you view media like you're watching a scoreboard, like TVs, shows, movies, whatever, that's not a real way to view it. Like that's just not reality. Like you either like it or you don't like it. And even if you have issues with it, you can still talk about like what you liked and what you disliked. On a game where scores are the point of the game, and I think a lot of people that use these scoring systems are trying to equate media consumption with like sporting events. The two things don't cross over. But in the mind of the people that are into that, it works. You know what I mean?
And also when you're talking about like in that case, like the score in a game of, I don't know, basketball, that's like an objective score. Like that is
Right.
what they scored.
Right.
But when you look at like 18% or something like that compared to this,
It's
that, or the other,
subjective.
it's going to be
subjective.
subjective.
Right.
And there's going to be different thoughts within those individual scores that create that final number.
Because I mean, even when we give
Whether it's
scores,
real or not.
Paige, you don't even like to give number scores half the time.
No,
when
because
people ask
the
you
thing
to
is,
rank something.
you give something an A, and then next week you give something an 8.5. It's like, well, why was this an extra 0.5?
I give number scores because people want to see them, and I can kind of gauge a little bit where I am. But I still, for the longest time, didn't want to. And a lot of people would say, "Well, why don't you give number scores anymore?" Well, the reason why is because even though it does give you guys an idea of what I think of it, I don't ever want to convince people or sway people on how they feel about something, whether they like it or not. I'd rather discuss it with somebody else and go, well, tell me about how you felt about it. Give me some details. Give me some thoughts. And I think that the idea of throwing up the Rotten Tomatoes score and stuff like that really is just kind of catering again to the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to like criticism about shows. Because what does that tell me about what you think about the movie or the TV show? It doesn't tell me anything. Amethyst here with a super sticker. It's like a partying little creature that I can see. I would really wish that we could see these on StreamYard. You can see it in the chat, but I wish we could see it when I pull it up on the screen. Thank you so much, Amethyst. I do appreciate it for the super sticker. Thank you. Darth Bunyan says this. We're going to move on from the Acolyte here after this, but Darth Bunyan says, I have to say I disagree on the writing being awful. They have avoided story tropes by going fast when needed and slowed down for key moments. They are foreshadowing for things that episodes 1 and 2 paid. I think there was a continuation for that comment. Off in 4 and 5 and later. I think there's a lot of layers to it already, I feel. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. The thing about me is what I really enjoy about the Acolyte is that the show can be appealing for people that aren't necessarily heavily invested in Star Wars, if that makes any sense. Like, you could sort of just pick that show up and you don't really need to know a lot about any of the other stuff. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to. And I think that's appealing for a lot of first-time viewers. And I do believe a lot of the gatekeeping that's going on or whatever is happening because they don't want new people to come into the Star Wars fandom. They want to kind of, normies, new fans or whatever. Everybody has to be. Did you see that comment I responded to where people were mad that House of the Dragon, that the actors didn't know all of the backstory of every single character from every single book? And I'm like, what is this metric on acting where you have to know everything about this? Yeah.
Why? So the actors like
they were in an interview and the actors were asked a question about something in the books and they didn't know what it was, and so somebody was kind of nitpicking, saying, "Oh, this is so embarrassing that the actors don't know, about this, that, and the other." It's like, why would they have to know that?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I mean, if the actor wants to go out of their way and do it, then fair enough. I don't think it's required.
The writers need to know that, like the people writing it.
And if it's a movie, the director.
Yeah.
I mean, but more specifically, the director doesn't necessarily have to read all of it. They just have to get a feel of it. But the writer should be reading it so they can adapt it properly.
So stupid. Jasmine, I was going to actually watch that here, but apparently they're copyright striking channels that are using the music video, so we're not going to watch it. But yeah, she made a video. The lead actress for on Star Wars, Acolyte, made a music video, kind of like a diss track, I guess you could say, for all of the backlash. I thought it was really catchy, and it was interesting to see that come out, because a lot of the people that get kind of bullied for taking part in a TV show or a movie, which is, it's even weird to say that anymore, but they get bullied for doing that. They take a lot of shit usually. So, but I thought it was really good. All right. I wanted to let's talk about the Jonathan Majors stuff. So Jonathan Majors and Megan Good took some photo ops together. We'll look at this little video here. They did some photo ops here, and let's see. This was for an award. I think I've got the award thing here lined up, but let's take a look at this and I'll find the award.
And then right up here, Megan, after that one. And then right up here, Megan. Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to show much more of it because there's music playing in the background that I'm not sure it's going to get hit with the copyright strike or whatever. I'll be honest, the controversy around Jonathan Majors kind of let up quicker than I thought it was going to let up, because I didn't think we would see him back out in the public doing this stuff for years. So this is kind of shocking to me. Not because I necessarily feel one way or another about what happened with him, but just the public doesn't generally forgive people so quickly, right?
Yeah, but this isn't the public though. This is the industry.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just the fact that the industry was willing to take a shot on it. You know what I mean? On giving him anything, to be honest. I was just kind of shocked about it, because I feel like they try to tread carefully about this. So this was the Hollywood Unlocked Perseverance Award. That was the award that he was given.
I've never heard of the award before until
I haven't
today.
Either. His comments were, as a black man in the criminal justice system, I felt anger, sadness, hurt, surprise when they snatched me up out of my apartment in handcuffs. I didn't feel like Jonathan Majors, Mr. Creed, Mr. Kang. I felt like a little scared, weak boy, despite the support and evidence that was in my favor. I knew shit was bad, and it was bad because of who I was and what I am. And this happens to black people all too often. So I guess that was his statement about this. Look, I don't have any real, like, I don't care. I don't have an issue with like, awards to me don't mean much of anything really. But and like you said, I never heard of this one, but I'm just shocked that he kind of got back into Hollywood so quickly after being dropped by his agency, being fired from all of his projects. Do you see a path to redemption for him now based on this? Do you think this is like them
I mean,
trying
it was
to
a
let him
proper
back in?
path of redemption, but this is obviously like he's had friends in the industry that are just helping him out. Like, this is clearly not an organic path to redemption. This is like the fact you're getting an award after being found guilty of abuse. Like, are we fucking dumb? Like,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like, that's the part that kind of like it's one thing for him to sort of just come back into the industry. It's another to get an award right away.
And the nominees for User of the Year go to, and the winner is like, what
I don't know.
As I said, I mean, there's probably a reason we haven't heard. Like 99% of people haven't heard.
I want to see. Let me see what this award has. What the criteria is as Hollywood.
I saw something on Twitter. It's about like they fight through or something, or like they show courage or something like that, or something like that.
That's not easy to find.
Yeah, I saw it like I think it was like a week or two ago when they announced it initially.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a little weird to me. I thought I'd bring it up because it does feel to me like a little quickly for him to sort of just be accepted back into Hollywood after all of that happening. All right, let's watch this.
And he hasn't been sentenced yet, has he?
I don't think so.
Which is like even the weirder thing about it.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to go to prison, obviously, but
yeah.
The fact that he hasn't been sentenced is still. At least I don't think he has.
So we're gonna watch the Sizzle reel here. And
Ever loading trailer.
yeah, I know it's YouTube, so we'll see. There was also, I'm not going to look at it today, but there was a picture of, because I've heard people getting hit in trouble for this, a picture of David Cornsweet in the suit on a newspaper that was taken like by a photographer behind the scenes or whatever, and it got uploaded to social media. I don't know. Or is it something official? I don't know. Apparently someone was saying that channels were getting struck for it. I'm not even going to go digging for it because I don't want to even take a chance on that. But apparently it just shows him in the suit on the cover of a newspaper. So anyway, let's watch this here if it'll start up.
I've made a discovery that'll change everything.
Show me something. This is a sensational season on the CW.
Did you guys have a good birthday?
Mine.
Cool.
No, it was cool.
So I will say it's interesting.
That's from last season, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is this isn't new as far as I can tell.
There's only a few new shots. Yeah, like even that shot of him flying was from last season.
Yeah. So
Cool.
Superman's house. Hot baby.
Not the new shot. I'm pretty sure.
Your
Mine
sense of
Kyle.
invention.
what was that?
I think the one of Kyle going Superman's house, man. That one, I think that's new.
Well, it said Superman's new house, right?
It's hot baby.
Show me something.
No.
House. Hot baby. Superman's house. Hot baby.
No,
Superman's
house.
house.
So is that? Are they talking
I
about?
think that's
the
from.
fourth-
I don't think that's from previous season. I think that's from this season.
Yeah.
Show me something.
What happened to your sense of invention?
Show me something.
Life's got a way of showing you what your next move's gonna be.
Party's on, it's hot, and the crowd is jumping.
You know,
I'm
it's
so
funny.
confused.
Yeah, go
wasn't
ahead.
the show canceled like 3
Yeah, I was gonna
years
say
ago?
they canceled the show. They went a whole season without it, and then they brought it back again. But it always baffled me that they canceled this in the first place because that's the whole set. That's
Yeah.
literally it. Four
Like, it
chairs.
just-
a
unless
little-
I don't know, it's not Tom Brady, Wayne Brady. Is he? Is he asking for like a $4 billion a season
know.
or something like that?
I have no idea. It's kind of weird.
Show me something.
Let's get ready to test your skills.
Trivial Pursuit,
Trivial
Travel.
We are in action.
John Cena.
So they are banking heavily on this wrestling thing. Wrestling is kind of a money printing machine for a lot of these networks because they get a lot in return for having it on. So this is why MTV for years did wrestling, and they've gotten away from it now, but they did it for years because it's so profitable. Let's go.
The crowd is absolutely deafening.
I'm a thief.
You and I are gonna get along.
Show me something.
Be gone, beast.
You're a bad librarian.
No, not bad. A bit naughty, perhaps.
Football is. You know what's funny to me is remember like back when they first took over, they were saying our age demographic is like 50 plus, 55, 58 plus, whatever it was. And they wanted to get rid of a lot of the shows that they had that felt like they skewed towards a younger audience. But then if you look at all the scripted shows outside of sports, it's all pretty much like
it's
the
all
normal
the
CW
same
stuff.
wheelhouse.
Like
yeah.
the Librarians and then Sullivan's Crossing, like all of it feels like the stuff that they would have had on the network anyway.
It's almost
so-
like it was a load of ass.
Yeah.
What they were saying.
Wait, hold on. Was that a? Look at that. There we go. Is that a new shot?
I guess so. Is that meant to be like Jupiter or something in the background?
Either Jupiter or the moon with like the light reflecting off.
But
of
then it has like orange dust coming in. Or is it Mars? Maybe it's Mars.
It has to be Mars because Jupiter doesn't have a surface.
Oh, it's just gas, isn't it? Have you been there?
Yes. So it looks like he's jumping off of that surface, whatever that is.
Yeah. Oh, he farted.
So we're actually going to see them fighting, which is interesting because I wasn't sure if we were going to see that or if it was going to pick up after the battle was over. So, ooh, coming in with the big guns. That looks so bad. What do you think, Paigey?
I don't know. Wasn't he just glazing the Acolyte?
Shots refired then. Shots refired. All right.
I'm back at your doors.
That's it. That's the whole thing. So the only new shots that I saw were the one with Doomsday here.
It's Doomsday, and then I think you see Superman getting flung into the moon just before that, or into something.
It's hard to tell the way they've kind of pieced this together.
Yeah, is it? Was that Doomsday getting flung? Yeah.
So let's do this. Mute. Speed. All right. Let's see.
I think it's Superman.
It's so
Or is it-
tiny.
I can't fucking tell.
Even at slow speeds. That looks
I think
like
it's-
Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like Superman. I was just trying to see if I could see the cape, but I think
Yeah.
I can see the cape like bundled at the back.
That's an
Freeze
interesting frame, right? Like the way they freeze that, because he jumps up and then it's kind of like
Maybe they don't want to show much because I'm still interested to see how they do it because I feel like Superman's gonna be gone for Yeah, it must be him jumping. Yeah, he's jumping off the surface. Yeah,
so, yeah.
but that must be like an asteroid or something maybe that he's chucked him into. As I said,
Yeah.
it's minor.
It
so-
shows him hopping. Like you can see back there's a cloud behind him, and then there's one, and then he jumps towards the
Yeah, Millie
towards
Rock.
the camera here. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
He's got his brass knuckles on,
Right, exactly.
spike knuckles.
Let's see here. Amethyst says, "Are you doing House of the Dragon season 2?" Probably not, because I don't really have a way to fit it in to my release schedule. So my release schedule for videos now are 3:00 the day after stuff airs, and right now that slot is taken by My Adventures with Superman, which I was going to drop if it didn't pick up, but then last week's video did like 1,200 views. So, also House of the Dragon is one of those. I hate to say this, I feel like it's a niche thing. Like you have to have a Game of Thrones channel to really get a lot of traction on House of the Dragon. I will say this. Are you watching it, by the way, at all? House of the Dragon season 2?
Yeah, I watched the first episode.
What did you think of it? We'll talk about it here. I don't mind talking about it. So
I thought it was a bit like the first half of it. I thought it was a bit slow is probably the word to use. Like it was just trying to build itself
I would
up.
say yes, very that.
But I think it was all building up to and just setting all the ducks in a row so they could do the thing at the end without spoiling what
Yes.
it was if you haven't watched it. Which I was like, I didn't know they were actually going to do it, and it was disgusting. But the sounds of it.
I'll be honest, we were
pretty
sitting there
opposite.
about 30 some minutes into the episode, and this is no lie, this is what I was doing.
But that's because you have the attention span of a peanut,
No, that's not true. That's not
a
true.
walnut.
I just felt like it was jumping around so much I couldn't latch onto a story. And it's been so long since the last season that I was like trying to find something. I was like, I have to go back and watch season 1 again. I have to, because I was lost on a lot of the storylines. I feel like a lot of the storylines, if you're not a super fan of Game of Thrones, you probably don't remember every single element of those stories, because I didn't. A lot of those characters I forgot about. I watch too much TV is pretty much what it is. I forget stuff because I watch so many different shows. So for me, I was like completely just out of all that. So I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of the stuff separately. Let's see. I thought somebody sent me the picture from. Do you know what picture I'm talking about? The one with the on set of. Maybe I won't get in trouble. I'll share it.
Of what?
Of Superman, the movie, the upcoming movie. I'll show you here.
The Zack
This
Snyder
picture
movie.
here. This picture. Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Okay. Some people were saying that people were getting copyright hits for it, but I don't. I've seen a lot of people share it.
How? Copyrighted by Earth?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. People were telling me. But you get to see this dude standing up, but it's really not great quality.
Yeah, but I think it's they took the photo from like a few meters away and then have zoomed in to this, I think.
Yeah. What do you think, though, of what you can see here about the cape? And
Oh, it
everything?
makes me wonder what James Gunn was smoking when he decided to release him sitting down, not release that photo in good quality.
Now, do you think that this suit photo will get, like, the actual proper photo will get released soon now?
I hope so, because it's such a good photo. Like, obviously he's in front of a green screen, and you can sort of actually tell he's in front of a green screen even on that photo. But like, God, you could have like done it up a bit. But God, why was that not the reveal photo instead of him sitting down with the suit crunkling and him looking? And also in this photo, I don't know if you can tell, but he's actually got the curl in the middle of his head. In the middle of his
yeah, you can see it. Yeah, because
like all the way to the side.
Because he's got the 3/4 profile, and you can see where the curl is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I
But
still wish the crest was. It makes me wish the crest was different now. Seeing the suit like this, I wish it was just the classic crest because the suit looks classic. If that makes sense.
Well,
and also like even on this, like the collar doesn't look too prominent. Like when he was sitting down and like kneeling over and he was scrunching his head forward, the collar looked more prominent. But when he's actually standing upright, it looks like it fits in better with the suit.
Yeah. So the other thing is that, the title of this article, so Superman saves 20 after downtown building collapse. A lot of people were upset. They're like, is that them trying to throw shade at Zack Snyder because his Superman had a bunch of buildings collapse on people and this Superman saved 20 people? And I'm like, everything is not about Zack Snyder's Man of Steel movie. But anyway, I was like, they're just showing that this Superman is actually out saving people. I don't know how that's a big deal.
It shows that he's like going on like a day-to-day basis. Though they're not small things, they're like medium things.
Yeah.
At least it shows like I mean, actually I don't think he would do it because it happened in the first Superman movie. Was it the first one or the second one? When Superman saves the cat from the tree. So I don't know if he's gonna do that. But he might do something similar, I know.
All right, so this next thing we're gonna look at
edgy.
Is almost 100% going to get removed from this video. So if you're not here live, you're going to have to go look at it for yourself and then come back here to hear us discuss it. I'm going to pull it up here in a second.
Okay, well, no, I don't want it. It could be
100% going to get removed
or something.
100% going to get removed. Okay. It is a trailer for an upcoming DC animated series, I believe. I think was it a series or a movie? Hold on, let me see. I think it's a series. Yes, it's a series. And I have to say, it looks, to me, it looks incredible.
Okay.
The whole vibe of this, co-sign me right now. I am ready for this series. 1,000,000,000% ready for this. So
is it DC Supergirls High School or something?
Here we go. Yeah. Oh, it's Suicide Squad Isekai, I believe is the title. It says it here at the end. I think is when I don't know when it's getting released. It doesn't say. All right. So that was the trailer
it's a movie, isn't it?
It says series when I looked it up.
Oh, okay. I thought it was initially meant to be a movie.
Either way, I love old school anime, so I'm a fan of like the shit from like 20 years ago, like the really old school shit, like Dragon Ball, Bleach, like the old school One Piece,
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Naruto, like no, not Yu-Gi-Oh, like all the old school shit I really liked. Right, this feels like Cowboy Bebop. This feels like that Samurai Champloo. Like I loved the old anime. And that's what this feels like to me. So for me, this is 100%. I'm down for this, right? And I know it's not for everybody. I know there's going to be some people that are not into anime, so this is not their vibe. I get it. We're still getting like the Peacemaker season 2, which by the way, James Gunn has confused more people with that. Talk about that in a second. But to me, this looks incredible. I'm really, really ready for this. I think it's really smart for DC to go in a direction that Marvel just isn't really going in, which is like this anime type world. like legitimate, like 100% anime. So I'm in for it. You're not a fan of cartoons in general, so this probably isn't something that you would check out, right? Like not something you're into, correct?
No, I'm not a weeb.
But you don't watch any animation. What are you talking about? You're not even watching My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, but it hasn't been necessarily this like ridiculous case to go watch it.
Yeah, well, I think it's really good. Super. By the way, and I put it in the thumbnail because I didn't want to talk about it. Supergirl on that series has a great design. Her costume design is fantastic. Let me see if I can find it quickly. So, and I know it's probably going to change, obviously, throughout the season, but I wanted to pull this up. It's very like remember when they did the Earth X story on Arrowverse? So it reminds me a lot of that. Here's the design of the suit.
What's with the shoulder pads?
It's it has a armor that goes over top of it. She can like create a giant armor that goes over top of it, like Kryptonian technology. I think it's great. I know you're not watching it. I think it's really good. This episode was really strong, this week's episode. And did you watch the first season or did you not watch it at all?
I didn't watch it at all.
I figured.
0 episodes viewed.
I figured. I think it's really good. I think the design is cool. I like the black, the red, and the gray. We know that she's going to go back to like a more traditional suit eventually, but I thought it was really good. I'm excited with it. I'm having fun with My Adventures with Superman. But I want to talk about the whole James Gunn thing with the Peacemaker season 2. So he's saying that it doesn't have any connection to season 1. Like he's saying that it's literally just a different story altogether. What do you think that means? Does it mean like the characters are going to have a different tone? Do you think they're going to have the same personalities? Like what do you suspect he means by
I'd
that?
assume it's just going to be it's the exact same, it's just not canon to season 1. Like they're just going to, because the thing is, it's not like this ridiculous, because apparently I even heard that his dad's returning.
Yeah.
So they're going to unkill his dad. He got shot in the fucking head. Like,
it's quite interesting.
but here's the thing. No one's watching Peacemaker for the story. Let's be completely honest. Like, if you said someone explained the plot of Peacemaker season 1 to like someone that's probably got a Peacemaker profile, they'd be like, "Oh shit, what the fuck was that?" It's a character-based show. You're watching it for the characters. You're not watching it for the plot. It's not a plot or a story-based show. You're watching it for the characters. So that's why, and I think James Gunn knows that as well.
Yeah,
James Gunn would 100% know that. So, yeah.
All right, so we got 2 more topics we got to get done in like very quick amount of time, but this is the one I wanted to bring up next. So this was kind of funny to me. So Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, had to make this statement in an interview. People are surprised, like, yeah, oh my God, you're actually not like him. And I'm like, yeah, he's a psychopath. What is it? Psychopathic narcissist. So yeah, thanks. Is it an issue that we have where people believe that the actors now are the characters that they play? Is that something that is happening?
You gotta realize, like, a lot of people just like, it falls into even like when people go up to like, and they like, and they call them by their character name. You know, it must be rough for an actor, because Anthony Starr's gonna have to deal with this after next season ends, where everyone's just gonna call him Homelander for the rest of his career. He's not going to be anything else. He's not going to be Anthony Starr. He's going to be.
Well, you know, a lot of people want him as Eobard. They want him as Reverse Flash. So,
but I think that's probably why he won't get cast as anything. Like he probably will just get. Yeah, like it's hard when you fall into that. Like you look at like people from like even like someone like Jennifer Lawrence, who's won like an Oscar and stuff like that. She just still gets called Katniss from Hunger Games.
Mm-hmm.
And like Robert Downey Jr. Well, maybe he's escaped that a bit, but a lot of times people just go, "Oh, Tony Stark," you know. Like, you know, people like when you play like
that. Okay, so that seems a little weird. I'm not trying to judge anybody, but that seems a little weird to me that people just associate an actor with their character. Like,
but a lot of the times they're people that don't consume a ridiculous amount of media, so they lock into that. So they probably won't watch. Like I had seen Anthony Starr. There's there's I can't remember what it was called, but it used to play on it's a New Zealand show. So I had seen Anthony Starr like 20 years ago. God, I'm gonna have to try and find the show quickly, and you can look up the trailer for the intro for the show. It was, what was it called? Outrageous Fortune. It's a New Zealand show. It's almost, I think people call it like New Zealand's Shameless or something like that. But it's called Outrageous Fortune. And I'd seen him on that. He plays twins in that show. And then I remember I'd seen Banshee and stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy just made it to America randomly. And then, of course, he gets cast in this. But he's been around for ages. But this is obviously like, even from now on, people are going to call him Homelander.
I'm looking now.
It's from ages, like mid 2000s, like 20.
Yeah, I'm seeing several different trailers of it though. Oh wait, hold on. All right, so I got a little clip here. We're gonna watch this clip. Also, Eric Kripke, the showrunner for The Boys, wants to do a DC project. Do you think that will ever happen?
I don't know. I worry about Eric Kripke because I feel like he likes the Boys comics. I think that's a red flag.
All right, so here's a little clip, right? And the Anthony Starr is in this clip, and it's quite interesting.
In the show, he plays twins, but I don't know. And like one of them, I think one of them is successful. One of
like a completely different character, like so completely different. Like that's like some deadbeat guy. Like just. How did he even get the role for The Boys? Like I feel like he
did Banshee in America, and that went on for quite a while. And that was like one of those shows where it started off small and then grew popularity over the years, like while it was on. But yeah, like I don't know, like it happens to be like obviously he's not gonna be the first person, he's not gonna be the last. It's just people call him by character. Like I mean, like everyone from Harry Potter, pretty much. A lot of the people like, do you think anyone goes to see me who goes, oh, you see me there? They go Shang-Chi, like it just happens, you know.
All right, last topic, and then I'll do a few questions before we wrap this up. The Blade movie.
Oh, the always evolving and changing, but never to be released. Is this the new Flash?
Oh, they lost their director. Now they're searching for a new director. They might have found one by now. I don't know. They lost their director. They lost a couple of actors that were attached to it. Mahershala is still attached, even though people are saying that's wearing thin for him. His publicist, I think, said that. I just don't get it. I do not get it. Like I even tweeted out that this movie is setting itself up to have to overcome more hurdles than it should have, because it's already going up against a really beloved trilogy. Even if you say the third movie sucks, the first two Blade movies, people typically really love those movies. They love Wesley Snipes in that role. So right away, you got people trying to compare it to that. So it's going up against that. It's going up against some of the issues that Marvel has had over the last couple of years, trying to like put out something that feels like it's going to appeal to a wide variety of people. So you got that issue. There was the drama saying it was going to be about like two women vampires, and Blade was going to be like the third character in the movie, which we don't know if that's true or not. They said that wasn't true, but then there's people that still say came from a credible source. Just basically what I'm saying is there's so much drama behind the scenes with this movie outside of the production hell that it's been in. And we know that there's other movies sort of waiting for Blade to happen so those other movies can fall in line. So I guess my thought is, how long does Marvel keep this hot potato bouncing before they just drop it?
I don't know. I wonder if it's just because they did snag Mahershala Ali, and I think they got him like right after he won that Oscar, the second Oscar. I think.
I mean, to be fair, this also doesn't look good for him now. It's starting to look bad for him because it's
he's difficult to work with.
Diva behavior. Yeah. It's starting to feel that way. Even if it's not, that's the way some people are seeing this. Because we talked about this before, that it's like, how difficult is it to write a Blade story?
Especially an introductory story for him in this universe. Like you think it'd be like fairly easy, and yeah.
I want a
don't know.
good story. Look, I know people say that the Marvel.
Well, actually,
fans-
you know what?
What?
You know
What's
what?
that?
Just quickly, I did see a quote from him saying he wanted to be his Black Panther. Well, that
I
was
did
like not
see
a
that
quote from
too.
him. Sorry, I think it was like someone said that he's saying this, and that's probably why he wants it to be like an Oscar-worthy or an Oscar like.
But what does he
contender,
mean by
like
that? That's the
Blade movie.
question. What does he mean by that? Because Blade and Black Panther are two very, very different characters.
Yeah.
And I
The
think
only thing I can think of is
saying
that,
if you're saying that, you're telling people either you do not understand the Blade character, that story doesn't resonate, because Blade's story and Black Panther story are vastly different. Which then people go, well, is it just because he's playing a black character? He wants that one black character to be the same. So again, doesn't look good for him.
yeah, I do wonder if he wants it to be something which, like, you know, contains like, I don't know whether it's social issues or political issues or something. Yeah, and they're like,
I just
bro,
don't
it's
know,
a
man.
Blade movie. Like,
I think he's a great actor, and I think he's very talented.
oh, he's a great actor. Yeah,
And I want them to get this right. But first and foremost, I need the people behind this to understand that Blade is just, he's an amazing character that doesn't have to be Black Panther. He doesn't have to be like T'Challa. Like, those characters are completely different at a core level. Like they're just not the same. Their stories are completely different. Like, unless he means he wants Black Panther to hold the same importance like in the MCU, or for Blade to hold the same importance as Black Panther in the MCU, unless that's what he's saying, trying to compare those two characters outside of that regard is just a bad thing. It's just bad. So
yeah.
I'm a little worried. I'll be honest. I'm a little worried because you look back at the Blade movies, and outside of the wonkiness of the third movie, I think they made a lot of really good decisions with those early Blade films. And I think they're making this way too complicated. I don't know why they can't just get the ball rolling on this. How bad could these scripts be to the point where they've had to throw all of them out? Because what have we done, like 10 of them now? I feel like it's been so many.
I don't know. It's all over the joint. Young DJ Eric's in the
I don't know.
third.
All right, let's answer these last chats here. These we got a member chat and a super chat. We're going to wrap this up. So the member chat is from Lone Wolf, and member for 44 months. Thank you for your support, Lone Wolf. Anthony deserves an Emmy this episode. Wow, agree. I think he did an amazing job in the episode, and I was thoroughly creeped out. If you didn't see my review, it is up now from yesterday. I was really creeped out by the performance, and we're going to wait and see. People are saying this might be one of the best villains on TV ever, like in terms of superhero shows. We've got one more season to go, so they can still fuck it up. I'm not ready to plant my flag yet on that character. We have a $4.99 super chat from Staggervore. Did you hear that Eric Kripke reached out to Jared Padalecki about potentially booking a role on The Boys, and Jared mentioned that he's interested? I mean, they could definitely fit him in the final season. I mean, I wouldn't be super surprised. It seems like Eric really is trying to get that band back together for something. And it seems like the CW doesn't care. I mean, Jared seems like he's got some free time at this point. But Paige isn't watching The Boys, so I don't think he has much opinion about this. But what do you think about the idea of bringing in Jared onto the show as well, now that he's pretty much had like all the big hitters from Supernatural?
I mean, isn't like half the cast from Supernatural anyway?
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lot.
At this point,
Yeah.
so. I mean, it wouldn't be too much of a surprise if that's going to happen. I am really surprised by the discourse around it, where like that people are really discussing like the politics of the show, when I think it's been pretty evident, especially since like the back half of season 2, what the show was always about. I do disagree when people say that like the show was always heavy-handed from the beginning. I'm like, I don't think it was. Season 1 was more sort of satire on like the capitalism side of things and stuff like that. It didn't really lean too heavy into like it did, but not as it does like now, like up to now in the current season. So I feel like in season 1 especially, it was pretty heavy-handed. Like they used to make fun of like the people that like try to get brownie points through like diversity and stuff like that in season 1. Like people forget that like they made fun of that, which is making fun of the left or the far left. So like I
don't think that's true though. I think they were making fun of the idea of capitalizing off of diversity, not necessarily.
But that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. But
Yeah.
a lot of the times, yeah, that's I'm not saying like the general person walking down the street, but like within like the actual like business side of things and the
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, just like I don't think they like. I think the nuance in the first season was more than just like making fun.
But that's the thing. I think that's the big thing. It was a lot more nuanced in season 1, and I'd probably say like the first good chunk of season 2, but primarily season 1. And but it's really not nuanced at all, which I think if people want to watch it, that's why I struggle with it at the moment, just because it is so in your face, and I'm like, whatever, like the show doesn't really entertain me much like outside of that. Like I prefer the story there, but I think it's just like, especially like season 3, like the plot was moving really slowly to the point where Boys almost like has like a really minimalistic plot. And it's more about like what crazy shit we can do. That's why people watch it. People aren't watching The Boys a lot of the time for the storyline. Like no one's really overly theorizing what's going to happen with the storyline. They're wondering what crazy shit's this dude going to do, whether it's Homelander, or what is the Deep going to have sex with another octopus? Like that's why they're watching
the individual like ridiculous
the craziness of it, like
stuff.
the fact that like it goes outside the box.
I actually think that's why I prefer Gen V over The Boys overall, because Gen V was a character show. Like it was all about the characters, and yes, it did touch on social topics, but the social topics were secondary to the characters, that's what I really liked about Gen V. I said in my review for The Boys, and I don't remember, I think it was when I was talking with Darth Bunyan, that I feel like the satire aspect of The Boys was like a crystal ball. Like they were predicting how crazy things would get. So it's like, oh, could you believe that the left or the right would do one of these things, right? That was the joke. But now the show feels like it's chasing the dog. Like it's the jokes are now based on things that have already happened.
Actually happened,
yeah.
They weren't trying to foresee and predict it and make a show around that. Now they're like, it's like it's SNL or something, and they're just going, oh, what happened in the news today?
Which is why I liked this past episode, because the past episode dealt with Homelander's history. Like it talked about how he was made and where he came from, and that was a big chunk of the story. So there was no sort of political anything in it or social thing anywhere. It was just about Homelander and the way he was treated, really, in that way. And then the stuff with the other characters, like you had the absolute opposite of that, where Starfire and Firecracker were dealing with pretty much like, I'm trying to think of the closest thing it could resemble, like InfoWars. Like it was like this character was doing, a woman doing Alex Jones on InfoWars with like bringing people on and making fun of Starlight and talking about the stuff she's done in the past, and then all this other stuff. So it's like there was this big, huge sort of dichotomy between what Homelander's story was versus the other stuff. And I don't mind the other stuff. I think the other stuff is fine, but I think that they're chasing it now. And this is kind of what I said about, this is completely unrelated, but I feel like it's the same thing in my mind, how the Apple products used to be. Apple used to be innovators. They would come up with new things that no one else was doing. And now it's a competition between Apple and Samsung about who's going to copy each other's next design. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we're at with The Boys. And so I feel like ending it at season 5 is a good spot, because I don't know if that show has enough in the tank to continue satire.
I think because it was so heavy-handed in trying to be satirical, and then I think once you try and do that too much, like as I said, we've talked about like the nuance of the show and everything, and I feel like that sort of faded away. When I do think the show like relies so heavily on Homelander, and especially like viewership wise, people relying on that I think ending it sooner rather than later is probably the better way to go, especially if there's so much discourse around it. Like once again, if you have to constantly defend why you're doing this in the storyline and everything like that, rather than just letting it be the storyline. I know. Probably better way.
We're gonna stay on for 5 more minutes max. So if you have any super chats you want to do anything with that, I'm enjoying The Boys, but I do think that this season is very clear that they are basically taking real world stuff and just flipping it up into the show, and
which I think is fairly lazy.
I think there's an argument for that. Yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure. I am enjoying it, but I think my favorite season of The Boys, I think, was season 2. So I like season 1.
Mine's like season 1. I think, it's season 1 or 2. Like for me, obviously, because like even then, like the back half of season 2 almost started to lose me. But I still enjoyed season 2 for what it was.
Well, here's the thing, Kenneth. I agree. I prefer the show over the comic books.
The comic books are arse. Like they are.
Yeah.
Poo-poo.
Well, that's the other thing is that with the Boys, I have said this so many times while I'm watching it. Every single person on there, including Starlight, is in some people's minds irredeemable as a human being. Like there's no perfect person on that show. You could argue. I think there's an argument for Huey being.
But
probably
even then, I was going to say, like, I think in season 1 you could vouch for Huey, but then like there's bits later on where it's like, well, is he actually that good of a person? Like, I don't think there's necessarily, and I don't think there's a ridiculously like this massive protagonist on the show. Like, sure, the show is called The Boys, and you're meant to be following that group of the boys, plus Kimiko.
Yeah. And then here's the other side of this is what Darth is saying, which is why when you were saying the argument about it being lazy is, I think also a lot of people that didn't realize they were being made fun of realize it now. But it's been like that, like you said, from the beginning of the show. It just wasn't so blatantly in people's faces. It was kind of like South Park or Family Guy.
But then you're going to go, why are you stepping out of your way to appease certain people?
I think because of the fact that they maybe the people making the show were tired of people romanticizing the awful characters. You know what I mean? Like, if you relate to Homelander, there's something you need to go see a doctor. Like, seriously, like that's the issue. Is I think a lot of people were relating to Homelander. It's like, how are you relating to this character?
If it's a choice, I think it's an odd choice. I think would have been better off, continuing what you're doing. I think the best thing The Boys ever did. I think it has one of the better pilots of like recent years. I think the pilot episode for The Boys is arguably what a top 5 pilot in the past like 10 years. Like the first episode is like, even though it's a streaming show, do we even call it a pilot? But
I don't know. Maybe.
I know some of them say it's not a thing anymore. It's only network TV, and even then, a lot of them they don't have pilots.
Yeah. We have a member chat here from King of Lesbia, member for 15 months. Thank you for the support, King of Lesbia. Any news on future Wonder Woman movies? Will Gal continue? I think it's pretty much a done deal that Gal Gadot is not coming back as Wonder Woman. I don't see that happening. Do you see any world where that happens? I don't think.
I don't know how. I mean, you haven't heard anything about that prequel show. There's like literally no news on that at all, which makes you wonder, like, which is weird because Gal Gadot got sort of like screwed. She's probably the actress, like the one DC actor that probably got screwed the most from the thing because her next movie was in development and everything like that.
Yeah.
So she's probably the only one that or the one that at least got screwed over the most.
Yeah, there's some people that don't like her. I've heard all different kinds of reasons, everything from her affiliation with the military in her country to just they don't like her as a person. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're going to have to be very particular about who they pick for the next Wonder Woman. Do you think they're going to go for more of like a athletic actor for that role, or are they going to go more for like the sexy sort of pinup type vibe?
It depends. I think the person who's Wonder Woman might not even be known at the moment. She's like, I didn't see a Wonder Woman movie coming out for a while, let alone Wonder Woman appearing. Like, they'll probably definitely give it a few more years break before any sort of development there. But I thought she was really good as Wonder Woman. Like, so.
Nairobi, come here. Keep me out at the door. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. We're at the end of the line. Next week, the shows will return to the normal length, which is a little bit longer than now. But I have to go. I've got stuff to do. But thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate you hanging out. This will be available on playback, but some stuff might be cut out. So if you missed anything, you should probably try and watch this back as quickly as possible because I'm pretty sure that Suicide Squad trailer was going to get removed. But anyway, I will see everybody later. I will update everybody on the Weekly Geekly, what I end up deciding this week. And that's pretty much it. So have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you later.